Thank you all for being here. We're definitely excited for part 2 of Battle of the Bay, the Berkeley version. Appreciate all your coverage and support. I think from a macro perspective, this is a really exciting week for women's college basketball. You have Stanford as the #1 team in our conference. We're #2. They're #2 in the nation. I think we've earned the right to be on the national radar. So it sets up to be really good for women's college basketball in general, particularly in the Bay Area. There's definitely a buzz around our program. I think there's a buzz in the community. Our freshman point guard, Brittany Boyd, was in my office the other day, and we were watching the Texas A&M Baylor game together, and she commented on the crowd. And I said, wait for Sunday night. I think we're going to have a crowd like that. I think it just speaks to the fact that the Stanford-Cal rivalry in women's basketball is on par with anyone else in the country, and that's really fun for all of us. We're trying to elevate, obviously, women's basketball on the West Coast, and I think our players have done that along with the Stanford program as well. So from a basketball perspective, we're looking forward to a really, really competitive, athletic, great representation of basketball. The first game was a really good one. I think they're much improved since then, and I hope that we are as well. The more film I watch on them, the more impressed I am with the Agumake sisters. I mean, what they're doing is pretty unbelievable, but I think they're getting elevated play from the rest of their lineup as well. Joss Tinkle's playing really well, Tony Kokenis. And I think what I love about our team is that they don't back down from any challenge. We look at this as a great opportunity, not only to have a chance against one of the best teams in the country, but to elevate our own program and to continue to bolster our resume for postseason. So really happy to go into this battle with the group that we have. I think they've accomplished a lot this year, and the chance to come out and play Stanford is something we're really looking forward to.
Open it up for questions for the ladies.
Talia, you played Stanford really well the last time.
Mm-hmm.
Was it overtime?
Yes.
Points? So
overtime.
What does that do for the team? Knowing you extended them to overtime at their place.
Yes. Well, I mean, we already knew we can compete with them and win a game. So this game's completely different because, like she was saying, they're much more improved. We're much more improved. So we're gonna look at film and see things that we definitely did wrong. But it's definitely a whole new game. It's the last game of the regular conference season for both of us, so we're just going to, really just look at film and see what we can take away to just get a win on Sunday.
Coach, you said everybody's pretty excited for this rematch. Can you expand a little bit on just the mood in the locker room for this game?
One thing I love about our players is that they're real competitors. I never have to kind of get them up to play anybody, but let alone a team as good as Stanford. I gave them 2 days off after the win on Saturday, so a Sunday, Monday off, and they were bouncing off the walls yesterday. It was one of our best practices, and it's interesting. I was watching the UConn-Notre Dame game on Monday night, and the speed of that game for women's basketball was remarkable, and then I put on the film of our first game against Stanford, and it was very similar. I mean, it was up and down, and the way that we practiced yesterday was in that type of mentality and that type of pace. I think our players relish the big stage. That's a good thing as a coach, and if we can harness that energy and utilize that energy and at the same time make some technical adjustments, I think that'll give us our best shot in this game. But they're very excited. They're fully aware of how good Stanford is, the buzz around the community, with respect to this game, and just the opportunity that's in front of them. So they're definitely hyped up.
Lindsay, what would a win over Stanford mean for you, the team, the program?
It would be huge, and that stems from the fact of how good they are. There's a lot of talk about their dominance, and some people, use that to knock the rest of the conference, the rest of the West Coast, and I just think that's crazy. I think it speaks to how good of a coach Tara is, the type of talent that they have, and the way that they prepare and play all the time. They're really good. So for us, I think any chance you have to play a team that has 1 loss on the year, that's #2 in the country, it can do a lot for your own program to be able to get a win against a team like that. So again, on the bigger level, one of the things that this group wants to do is to put Cal in the conversation of the most elite teams in the country. So it would be a step, obviously, towards achieving that. The second thing is, we feel like we've done a pretty good job building a really solid postseason resume. We're 13-2 in our last 15, 22 wins, all that kind of stuff. But if you go into postseason play with a win over a team like Stanford, obviously that's a difference maker. So those are all reasons that give us good motivation to want to win this game.
You guys both have freshman point guards. Can you talk a little bit about that matchup?
Yeah. Well, I said last time that we went into it, Brittany's been starting since the second game of the year, so I told her this is one of the times where you're a veteran over the opponent, because Amber, who's very, very talented, moved into the starting lineup a little bit later. But I think Amber does a lot of great things for them. At one point her assist-to-turnover ratio was something astronomical, like 7-1. I think she really understands how to get the ball to the Agumakays. I think she gives them a little bit of different pace. She does a really nice job. I think in addition to having two of the most talented players in the country in their front court, I think the rest of their players understand the system, and Amber goes along with that. Obviously we love Brittany and recognize all that she's done for us. I think that she starts our tempo. She's a gamer. She creates for other people, and she thinks she likes this kind of big stage. So we're just looking for her to have another solid game, as she really has, for most of the season.
Oh, you're going to have your hands full with your matchup, but how are you looking at that, the challenge that you face?
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. I mean, I always have fun just playing against really talented post players, and Nneka and Shanae are definitely one of the most talented in the country. So I always enjoy playing against Nneka. She's just skilled and ridiculously athletic, so it's going to be fun. Sharpen my skills a bit, and it's going to be a good focus, but it's going to be a good matchup.
Can you expand a little bit on just the mood in the locker room to get a chance to play in this game?
Mm-hmm. No, definitely. I mean, the good thing is it's been like that all season with all our games. The next game is most important. So this one's the most important because it is the next game. And, of course, it's also cool because I was like, this is my last game at home before I'm a senior, So it's like it's our last regular season game. So that's also exciting. We want to end on a great note. We've had, like she said, 13 in the last 15 games. So we want to end on a really good note in front of these fans. They've just been amazing. So we're just really excited.
But you don't think that going up against a team that has won so many consecutive games in the conference elevates the level of excitement?
You know what? Honestly, for our team, it's more about that we lost by 3 in overtime, and we did a lot of things wrong. Like just another opponent is how, when we played UCLA and beat them the second time. It's more like that. We lost the first time, by 3 in overtime. We want to get that one, So we haven't really thought about so much as number 2 in the nation, even though it's obviously apparent. It's been more just we let that one slip, and we want to get a win on Sunday.
And the other thing I felt is that college basketball season is long. I mean, it really is. And so you hit that point in February where it feels a little bit like a grind. And I'm very intentional about trying to pull the right strings with the mood of the team. And sometimes you got to get them through a grind, and sometimes you got to up that mood a little bit. And one thing we started talking about, a week or two ago was we want to not be one of those teams that's kind of slogging through to the end, but one that's, kicking up our heels and sprinting and being energetic. And our players have really bought into that. It obviously gets easier when you sort of see that endpoint. And this week, saying, okay, we've got Stanford, then we've got the Pac-12 tournament, then we've got the NCAA tournament. I think it's really, I've seen a tangible shift of just, energy levels and an excitement level being really high. And like Talia said, it's been an incredibly energetic, good mood kind of team all year. Even early on and kind of midway, but it's been very tangible this week to sort of see that bounce in their step because it's an exciting time of year, and they've earned the right to have a meaningful game at the beginning of March and hopefully well into March.
What's the game plan for containing the sisters, and how do you neutralize the speed in their backcourt?
Gosh, I think what are we on our 30th game, and if there was a game plan that has worked for containing the Agumake sisters, I haven't seen it.
Mm-hmm.
One thing that we do feel like is our physicality, our size, our depth in the post allows us to maybe match up better than most teams. Obviously, last game we sort of did a pretty good job on Nneka, limiting her below her average, and Shanae had a really good game. The main thing is taking away easy baskets. I mean, I think that's huge. I think those two run as well in transition as Oregon does, with their transition, as any guards I've seen. I mean, we got to take away easy baskets. We have to take away easy, deep one-on-one touches in the post and make them take tough shots, take away the offensive rebounds, all the things that are really backbreakers. If they're making tough shots, then that's different. In terms of their guard play, which, as I said, they're playing really well. Tinkle's really stepped up, and Tony. Same thing. We need to do a better job guarding the ball. I thought last time we gave them too many easy looks, on the perimeter, and so we like playing a fast tempo. We like the game being up and down, but we need to also keep the ball in front of us and not let their guards get to the rim or get anything, easy.
Let's go back to the first couple of conference games that you had where you lose a couple of games. And talk about how that may have sparked sort of the evolution of your team over the course of the season, just the lessons learned from those games.
That's a great question. We'd had a really good non-conference. I think we had established somewhat of an identity in terms of how we played, and we went down to LA and came back with two beatdowns. We didn't do well in those games, and we had been used to playing through the paint, going to the free throw line a lot, kind of overpowering people. And for whatever reason, the way the games were called, the way those teams game planned, as good as those teams are, we learned, I think, that we have to have more than just that. And I think that was a huge turning point for us. We really came back from that and said two things. Number one, we have to pay more attention to detail. That we have to make sure that we're controlling the things that we do well and doing it with a great attention to detail. And then the second part is we need to understand that if someone wants to take away one thing, and put 4 or 5 people in the paint, we have to be able to score other ways. And I think the job that Leja has done stepping up since then is huge, and I think our entire backcourt has really followed suit. And now what you see is that if someone's going to sag off and we're capable of knocking down threes, if someone's going to try and physically kind of manhandle or control our paint, then we're going to try and get up and down and play fast. We're going to go to presses. It certainly made me, I think, better in terms of being able to say I have to do a better job preparing us. I have to do a better job making us have multiple weapons, and clearly our players have really bought into that. What I loved about that trip is we came back and no one panicked. No one did any finger pointing. We all just looked at ourselves and said, hey, we need to be better. And I think that helped us, kind of going forward and really haven't kind of had a quote-unquote bad loss since then. We'd love to have won the USC game here and the Stanford game, there, but I don't think we can say that there was any type of negative repercussions from that. In fact, I think there were a lot of positive repercussions other than the fact that we took 2 early losses that we didn't want.
Now, you guys have an impressive rebounding margin or differential on opponents. What has that meant for you over the course of the season?
I think it's really helps solidify an identity. It's always cool. You can start off the season with an identity that teams know, that they kind of fear, and I think you can tell people really scout that. It's exciting because you see them put 2 people on you, or really make an effort. People who don't normally box out are making a huge effort to box out, whether it's for Shonda, Justine, Jennifer, or myself. So it's good that we can solidify a strong identity and just really show the work we've put in practice.
And do you expect to have similar advantages team, or is it going to be much more difficult to compete equally for the boards? We
need to box out. It can't just be a jumping fest. Sometimes you can just, especially like Jen Brandon, she can just out jump most people in the world. But I think that's going to be a big focus, like Coach said, eliminating easy baskets. There's some baskets that we gave Neko or Chene just because we didn't box out, and go grab the rebound. So it's going to be more technical, but we'll still have a good advantage on the board, I think.